From wearing a dress too daring for an 18th century girl, to having the last laugh when she takes her revenge from Comte, here are the most shameless things Claire ever did in Outlander. Starting off is the scene that earned her a huge round of applause from everyone. When she slapped Leary. I think we can all agree that ever since the start of Jamie and Claire's relationship, Leary Mackenzie pretty much made life impossible for the Frasers. She was very envious of Claire's new relationship with Jamie and their sudden marriage, even though her feelings for Jamie were never really reciprocated. She pointed the finger at Claire and even put an ill wish under their bed to bring them bad luck or even death. When Claire found out, she talked to her about it, of course. Leary didn't seem to care much about what she said and even insulted Claire, to which she responded by slapping Leary in the face.
To share his bed with a cold English. He must have to get himself swine drunk of a night before he can stand to plough your fields. Shouldn't have done that.
I'm pretty sure that was one of those hell yeah moments from every fan out there, especially considering Claire had been so patient with an immature girl like that for so long. And I guess the cherry on top of this scene was the fact that Claire did not apologize. I mean, we stan a queen willing to fight for her king. Claire definitely is one of the most daring characters in the show. I mean, remember the stunning red dress she wore once?
Are you mad, woman?
In the 18th century, women almost never wore dresses as daring as the one Claire wore in Versailles. But Claire didn't care what other people thought. So she went above and beyond to design the dress of her dreams that would be a total knockout. And it was. Even though Jamie didn't exactly approve of the plunging neckline, it was clear from the fact that he was speechless that he was very impressed by it. What's more empowering than being able to wear whatever you want, even if it's not technically socially acceptable? Going into one of the more darker parts of the show, though, Claire revealing the date of Blackjack Randall's death also became a really important moment. There is no doubt that Claire and Jamie hated Blackjack Randall with all their hearts, because he was responsible for most of the terrible things that had happened to them. But Claire's hatred for Randall grew tenfold when she saw him start to hurt Jamie in front of her and still have plans to play sick games on her husband. She felt helpless, but she decided to use the fact that she could see the future to her advantage by telling him the day he would die. It was her last act of defiance and retribution before she had to leave her husband with Blackjack Randall. You could literally see the color drain from his face when he heard about that. Notifying the docks of the smallpox outbreak on the Comte Saint-Germain ship. Claire is known for getting into trouble wherever she goes. And when she and Jamie arrived in France in Season 2, it was no different. After talking with Jamie's cousin about helping with the Jacobite rebellion, we see Claire walking along the docks when she comes across a very sick man who she soon realizes has smallpox. She tells everyone right away. I mean, let's not forget she's also a doctor who dedicated her entire life to serving the sick. But she soon realized that this situation was a bit different. You see, since the man who got sick was part of the Comte Saint-Germain's crew, they would have to destroy his ship and everything on it in order to stop the disease from spreading. This made Claire an enemy of the Comtes right away. But she didn't care much about him because she had to do what was right, not what was popular. You know what, Claire? You sure have a lot more courage than I'll ever have. Speaking of courage, let's talk about Claire killing Galus.
This is God's will.
So, maybe this wasn't the easiest thing for Claire to do, but she still did what had to be done for her family. See, Claire's old friend, Galus Duncan, who she thought had died years ago, was still alive and still wanted a Jacobite on the throne. She was also sure that she had to kill Brianna Fraser, Jamie and Claire's daughter, because it was part of a prophecy. Claire and Jamie went after her when they found out what she was going to do. In the end, Claire came close to killing Galus by cutting off her head. She has a hard time feeling bad about something that helped save her daughter's life. Violence really is a big part of the show. But that doesn't mean the characters haven't taken advantage of how readily aggressive people can get in those times. And Claire does have a way of surprising us throughout the show. I mean, remember the look on the Comte's face when he realized he was gonna get killed with her help? The Comte Saint-Germain and Claire disliked each other very much from the moment Claire arrived in France. I mean, obviously, since the Comte ended up losing an entire ship because of the smallpox news that Claire delivered. Suddenly, he was watching Claire, and he was ready to do anything to get his revenge. But in the end, Claire got the last laugh after many people tried to hurt her. After suspecting the Comte of witchcraft, King Louis used Claire's quote abilities to help him sentence and poison him to death. Talk about your own plans backfiring, am I right? Then comes a time when Claire really did act like the hero we didn't know we needed. Because saving an enslaved man at the time like that must have been so incredibly dangerous. Claire goes to Jamaica to find Jamie's kidnapped nephew, young Ian. When she gets there, she sees a horrible scene. That is, slaves being sold to different bidders. During this process, they're being embarrassed and tortured in public, which makes Super Claire angry. She steps in and tries to stop it all with the man who is being bid on. She needed Jamie's help to calm things down, but it was Claire who took the lead in the first place. She knew what would happen if she did that in that time and place, especially as a woman. But she did it anyway to save the man's life. Kudos to you, Claire Fraser. It's pretty obvious that a lot of things are different in the show because of the fact that it's set in a time so long ago. But I guess I still never expected Jamie to be into the hit your wife if she doesn't listen thing. The fact that Claire stood up to him, though, was something I'm pretty sure we were all glad to see. Claire and Jamie are a strong, passionate, and loving couple. But in the early days of their marriage, one thing almost broke them. We're talking about how Jamie punished Claire for being taken by British soldiers and putting him and his men in danger when they went to save her. In the 18th century, it was common for husbands to, quote, punish their wives when they didn't do what they were told. But Claire, who is a feminist and thinks in a modern way, would not stand for this. After Jamie did it anyway, she made sure that he knew he was wrong and that he shouldn't do it again. The cherry on the top was when she told Jamie, "I'll cut out your heart if you do it again." Pretty cool way to assert dominance if you ask me. And that's all for the most shameless things Claire ever did in Outlander.